Today is March 6, 2011. It's probably around 11:30 or 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And I decided to take the old digital camera to my favorite auto salvage yard, privately owned. And we're going to take a little look around and see what kind of stuff we got here. And we're going to start with this 76 Midget. It's been sitting for a while, needs work. Still has an engine and trans, interior. I'd like to make a point that virtually everything on this property, at least 60 or 70%, hello Pooch, except for the dogs, is for sale. If anybody seeing this video sees anything on the video of interest that they would like, all you have to do is make a comment. Still has its original engine, though it's been sitting for a while. The rag top is shot, the glass is busted, but it still don't look like it belongs in a place like this. But we got a lot of vehicles out here, yeah, all different ages, year makes and models, everything from the really freaking old to, well, modern day stuff. Private owned salvage. We've got buses, vans, cars, trucks, school buses. That's a panel truck, like a bread or an egg truck, something of that nature. We decided to come out here to look for some parts for an 80s model Volkswagen Jetta Rabbit, or anything comparable, or Jetta anyway. So we're going to jump in our truck here, and we're going to go out and hit the trails and find some parts. Making our way from the back side of the property, heading up towards the main part of the lot. Eventually we're going to be up in that direction, like way up in that direction. But we got to make our way around first. And as you can see, we've got a lot of different vehicles. I guess that's not for sale.
Anything that has to do with Ford becomes for sale.
Well, I'm sure any part with something. Tractor's not for sale.
Yeah,
No, it ain't.
sell it.
Okay, I guess it is for sale.
I think you said
Ford Explorer, Mitsubishi, a bunch of old vans, Cadillac, another Dodge, a Ford truck, two Ford trucks, old Ford van. We're gonna hook a hard left here.
that car's not for sale.
He's got a range of Bronco and Bronco 2s, four-wheel drive, two-wheel drives, Blazers, there's a Taurus. Many of these vehicles have titles. Many of them will start and run if you just tinker with them. A lot of them don't have titles, so they're partable vehicles. Oh yeah. And we're going to show you an interesting little vehicle right now. Here we have something of interest. There are many Corvair lovers out there. This is a Chevy Corvair. I don't know what year it is. I'm not very familiar with the cars. But I am familiar enough to tell you that this car has an interesting modification. If we can get the hood open again. Okay, so obviously this is not the way a Chevy Corvair is supposed to be. These are originally designed to have, what, a mid-engine?
Rear engine.
Rear engine design. And somebody has done some very significant modifications, although under all this crap is a 4-cylinder system with a rear-wheel drive design. This thing must have taken a buttload of modifications to do this, and it's obviously been on the road. Why they would allow it to sit and turn into this condition, I don't know. There are many other Corvairs on this property, and the owner of the property isn't particularly fond of these types of cars, and he would sell each and every one of them. The engine's supposed to be back here, but it's literally been modified to be a trunk now. And of course you got your fuel neck there, but they modified this and then they let it go to hell. This is one of at least a dozen cars, Corvairs that is, he would be more than happy to sell. So we're going to get back in our four-wheel drive, and we're going to continue up looking for parts. We got a really old car here. Nice big tuna boat for sale. So we're going to hit the trail. Continuing it on from the position of that Corvair. Lots of vehicles, lots of parts. There's another Bronco 2. And we will approach some of these vehicles in later days to make some more detailed videos. Today's video is designed to be a very, very brief overview of some of the more easily accessible stuff. Now the filming is going to get a little rough. We got to climb some hills. So we'll pause it till we get to some more stuff. Okay, so we got past through most of the really rough stuff. Unfortunately, with this yard, a lot of the stuff is very well overgrown. So it can be a little difficult to get to what you need, or even to find what you need. But there is a huge selection of vehicles, cars and trucks, sometimes really old stuff.
Trees.
Yeah, hold on. Should have brought the window up on that.
Kind of rough going down there.
Yeah, I think it'll be alright. There's a cute little car.
What?
That little orange job.
That little Civic?
Okay.
It's a Honda Civic.
Time to put the window up a little bit. There we go. Oh, maybe we won't get too bad of a glare.
There's some little old cars too. I don't know what that is.
And he's got the real old stuff, sometimes sitting next to the not so old stuff.
Oh, he don't organize them. Wherever he finds the spots where he puts them. I'm gonna stop up here. Where it's somewhat level.
Oh, instead of doing like you done last time?
And just leave it right here.
Okay. So we basically got to where we're going. We're going to walk in the rest of the way. So while he's poking around looking for his parts, take a little look at some of the stuff that we've got sitting out here. Quite the selection. Here's an old Plymouth. Back in Granddaddy's day. Complete interior. Probably even still has the engine in it. Well, there's that old Plymouth. And this is the essence of simplicity. Old-fashioned carbureted engine. Of course, everything's gone off of it, but still yet. Cars built in today. Probably even has a title to this beast. Old Chevy truck. Old Chevy... No, I suck at old shit. It's got a 327, that's all I know. Oh. Okay. Here's an old Torino. A really old Torino. Been sitting here for decades and decades. And decades. I'm gonna pop the hood. We'll just look right down in here. No engine. Just a car. Old Lincoln. Yeah, buddy. No engine, just a transmission. Many of these vehicles have been here literally for decades. Here's an old Ford, what was it, Galaxy 500. Since our battery is starting to deplete, and I wasn't intelligent enough to bring spare batteries, we're going to cut filming and only focus in on certain areas. So this brief overview video of showing you what's out here, this will be video number 1. In fact, I'll probably run it until the battery dies. I'm going to pause it here. Here we have an old Volkswagen of some kind. I'm not good at old German cars. And here's the biggest piece of crap in the world. A Chevy Vega. My mother owned one of these piles of crap. Car has definitely seen better days. See if we got anything under the hood here. Well, maybe not. Hood won't open. A Chevy Vega sitting next to a Volkswagen, whatever it is. And here we have an old Pinto. Probably been sitting here for 20 years. Old Pinto. Lots of old vehicles sitting here. Old Chevy car. or whatever the heck that is. Make our way down here a little bit. Not so old Ford. Here's a Fury. Old Ford Fury. See if we got... It's probably not even unlatched. Here's an old car, the likes of which I've never seen on the road. It's an Opel. I've never seen a running on the road Opel. Of course, this one ain't running no more. But still yet, it's an interesting thing to cast your eyes upon. Here we have another old Chevy. Big monster tuna boat car. Sitting down here at the bottom of the hill. No motor, no trans. Directly in front of it, well, I don't even know what the hell that is. Too old for me to identify. Yeah, look what we got here. Covered underneath all this crap. Made by Lincoln Mercury. Whatever it is. Too much crap on the hood for me to pop it. Try to see what's in there, if anything. We have a dog. Sorry, not for sale. And then we move back behind this old Chevy. We have a Volkswagen. And a variety of other old cars. Let's see what else we got around here. Hi, Pooch. You junkyard dog? Huh? You junkyard dog? We still got about half a battery. Let's poke around a little more and see what we got. Okay, so here's an unexpected turn of events. This car right here is an 81, I believe, Oldsmobile Tornado. And I say that because this car, up until a number of years ago, belonged to me. This was my car. And the reason why it's sitting here untouched, because everything looks exactly the same, is because the transmission went out. And I got ripped off by a transmission repair place who was supposed to fix my transmission, rebuild it, and they screwed me out of the deal. Oh, let's see what we got here. And there she be. The engine is still here. Radiator's gone. Carburetor's gone, and it's got all kinds of nesting being built on that, but this was a good running Tornado before the transmission finally went, and I got ripped off by a transmission repair place. Pissed me off. I had a familiar sight to see that I literally haven't laid my eyes on in at least 6 years. Well, enough of the nostalgia of my own personal vehicles. See what else we've got laying in the underbrush aside from a dog on a flatbed. Well, here we have an old Honda Accord mixed in with the old Oldsmobiles and Pontiacs, and so far it's the only Honda I've seen. I'm going to say this is probably an 80s model, maybe early 80s or late 70s. Let's see if we can find ourselves a sticker here. It might provide us with some insight into this That's just the tire information. Here we go. 84 Honda Accord. Can't pop the hood. Already tried the release, won't release. But for the purpose of this video, I suppose if you're interested in the engine or trans or hell, the whole car, it's just a YouTube comment away. Here's an old LTD. This is an old Buick. Looks like maybe a Regal. Oh, quite the selection. Old Chevy. Spectrum. Never heard of a Spectrum before. Moving beyond that, here's a Hyundai. Probably an old Elantra. Yuck. He can keep it. I'm not a big Hyundai fan. We have a stalker. Hi, Pooch. Old Dodge something. Let's see. We got some trees to fight our way through, so we're gonna pause for a minute here. Okay, so this is a classic example of how some of these vehicles come to be on this salvage. Clearly it was wrecked. Owners as well. I've either got another vehicle to drive or I can't afford to repair it. But many of these vehicles here ended up on the salvage because people fall into financial difficulties, they need money in a hurry, or they're being evicted and they have to get rid of their vehicles. This gentleman who owns this property has been collecting for years and years and years, and it's, you know, almost everything is up for sale with a few exceptions. There are some things that he won't part with because they are just his own personal collection, if you will. But the majority of this stuff is for sale. And there's just too much out here for me to handle in one filming, especially with half-dead batteries. So I've only got maybe a quarter of a battery left. We'll pick up a few more interesting points and then this video will end. Now you could call stuff like this rusty gold. That's got to be in its 50s, but, well, 60s anyway, but not so much as that. That is rusty gold. And it's doubtful that he would part with it at this point. But he's got other trucks very much like this. Well, some are even in better condition because that's missing the tail end, I think. But he's got them out here, just kind of dispersed amongst various generations. 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And that's really as far as it goes, because when it got into the more complicated fuel-injected headaches, that's kind of when he started to say, whoa, I give. Let's get a few more points of interest before we lose our battery here.